Well, hello, you're very welcome back to the Irish Independence League of Ireland reaction video, joined this evening on this Bank Holiday Monday by Dan McDonnell in Oriel Park, and I'm here in Tallaght Stadium where it's just finished. Shamrock Rovers 3, Shelbourne 2, a second 3-2 defeat in a couple of days for Joe O'Brien's men. It was the hosts, I suppose, left singing after your match tonight, Dan. A big win for Kieran Kilduff's Dundalk over there, his former manager Stephen Kenny, and St. Pat's, of course. There was other crazy results. It really was a Manic Monday. Galway United beaten Drogheda on their home patch 3-2. The concerns continue for Tiernan Lynch in Derry City, held to a 0-0 draw by Sligo Rovers. Bohs won, Waterford won as well. So Dan, it's another round, not short of talking points, but I might just throw to you first, because I suppose one of the stories of the day, and really one of the stories of the season so far, is the job Kieran Kilduff is doing at Dundalk. And instead of looking over their shoulder, they're really looking up at the teams ahead of them in the table.
Yeah, no, they're 3 points off the top. Pats remain top despite this defeat. I was just checking that with all the scores and sort of maybe late goals elsewhere, just to double check those implications. But yeah, and this was a frantic game. The first half, the first 45 minutes was probably as crazy a game as I've attended in a while, in terms of momentum swings and turning points, potential turning points and talking points. And the bottom line for Dundalk is a huge win, but a team that was quite patched up, or sort of rotated from Friday from Talca, and they went in sort of with a couple of not unusual, but sort of maybe a starting 11 that you mightn't have expected at the start of the season. But it worked. Tyreek Wilson come in from right back to score the opener, deflected goal. Shane Tracy, his first Premier Division start, the second goal. That was a slip from Pats leading up to that, but sort of a great moment for him personally. That was the win. Tyreek Wilson and Shane Tracy, unlikely goal scorers. There was so much more happened. Max Madden could have scored at 0-0. Pats actually had lots of spells, chances to score. McClellan missed the sitter. Edmondson after half time. Just around the area, Dundalk cheer and blocks and tackles. But equally, I have to say as well, Dundalk could have scored 4. In terms of chances on the break, they were so clever. And when Pats lost the ball, they just knew. Ruby was very good. Then with Horgan and Kenny off, and late red for Horgan for a second yellow for time wasting. It's the only slight downer for them. But I should say, there was a lot going on in the game. There could have been a red card for A. Darvin hacking down Keane Levy to stop a break. I've sort of stood right on that line between yellow and red. I think Aaron Bulger for Pats got done for a similar one in Europe almost a couple of years ago. But the real fear for Pats will be that Aidan Keenan went off after 15 minutes. He was replaced by Ramal Palmer. Clearly they didn't want to start Palmer because they're only getting him back, probably getting a run of games, and he goes off at half-time, but just before half-time, shaking his head, walking awkwardly, slamming the tunnel. It's one thing losing the game. I think the Dundalk were a good side, and there's no shame in that. This game, as I said, Pats had actually decent spells, but it's those injuries that will really worry them going back up the road, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. Dan, I might just go to things here in Tallaght. It was an absolutely manic game, 3-2, 5 goals, but really on the face of it, I think the top line is that Shells absolutely threw this away. They really wanted to prove a point after what Joe O'Brien called their worst performance of the season in Friday's loss at Dundalk, but Dan, they absolutely threw it away, leading 1-0, a minute or two to go until half-time. You think, okay, just get in a half-time with your 1-goal lead. It was an absolutely crazy defending. Roberto Lopez absolutely unmarked in the middle of the box, 1-1, and then barely 60 seconds later, Zeno Ebson Rossi, he had a night to forget with the late own goal on Friday, and he had another moment to forget here. A horrible mistimed clearance, allowing Michael Noonan to make it 2-1, and gave Shamrock Rovers the impetus to kick on then. And there wasn't a whole lot in the game until that. It was even enough, and then simple dropped corner from Wesley Spiel, allowing Graham Burke his 100th goal, and Shamrock Rovers colour is a big milestone for him. I don't think he'll have an easier finish of those 100. Jack Kenny Francis pulled one back late on, but the damage was really done. And I think just from Joey O'Brien's point of view, wanting to see a response from his side, it's been a tricky kind of couple of weeks. It was totally self-inflicted, this just compete. And I think there will be question marks. We're kind of surprised the season start without a recognised striker. Sean Boyd getting out of the squad, Martin left in the bench, Ward and Jarvis not there, unorthodox do. And I suppose it was a move that really didn't pay off. But kind of talking about the attack, it was the defensive errors that really, really undone them here, and they'll be furious after tonight.
Yeah, I think if you were to say the Shells at the start of the season when they play Shamrock Rovers, that you will score first in both games, you will score 4 goals against Shamrock Rovers in those 2 games and come away with 1 point, that probably tells a tale. And as you said about Shells several times, and I got a high regard for them as a team. I think they can be a very good side on their day, but they always concede. It feels like they always concede, and even Spiel, like, probably one of the best goalkeepers in the league when he came in last season, looks to have a lot of the attributes, but like he had that, I think he gave away the penalty against Rovers in the last game. He sort of has a mistake in him, and yeah, they've conceded 6 in 2 games.
Yeah, no, we'll move on to, I think the only place to move on to is Drogheda United 2, Galway 3. Drogheda going 2-0 up on 18 minutes, and Galway come back, Francie Lombodo, and then 2 second half goals. And that's I think it's probably doing Galway disservice to say they're quietly going about their business, but they're picking up a couple of, that's their 3rd win in 4, Dan, and just probably going under the radar a little bit, and really, really solid and exceeding expectations so far.
Yeah, look, these Friday and Mondays can often be tough for the sort of, say, the lower budget teams in the division, and resources can be strained. And I think that's the thing. I think Dundalk took 6 points from the last Friday and Monday, and they've taken it from this one. And Galway, building on the Derry win on Friday, did the same from this one. It's exceptional stuff from them. Obviously, 2 sides. Drogheda started the game fast, just like they did on Friday. I was there. They scored twice. You don't associate Drogheda with weakness from that position. Like, you wouldn't have thought that'd be a 5-goal game, personally, when you look at it. So you sort of think, you're saying first goal matters, and they got 2 and they've still lost. But it kind of reflects this season, just these twists and turns. Although I will say, look, credit to Galway, credit to Dundalk. Although I should say, with all what's going on here, Shamrock Rovers are a point off the top, and maybe there's a sense of inevitability off that. I know you're talking about Shell's mistakes, and naturally so, but I suppose Rovers are in that position, and they're there as well because Bohs have dropped points against Waterford to sort of move on to that game. You have the situation where, again, I think if someone's going to stop Rovers winning the league, they have to press on and open a gap, build a gap at this time, and then hope that when Rovers get into Europe, then it's just harder for them to bridge that gap. And I think, if you drop points at home to Waterford, who, to be fair to John Daly, give him loads of credit, coming after the break into playing those 2 fixtures, Rovers and Bohs, you're thinking, geez, is he going to hide into nothing here? And he's taking a point from both of them. So that's huge for him and for them, for Waterford. But I think for Bohs at home, it must be a 2 points drop. I know they came from behind. I'm not fully aware of the tail of that game. I think it was 10 corners to 0 at one point. So clearly Bohs were knocking on the door. But I think as well, they haven't scored many goals from open play in the last 5 or 6 games. And yeah, that's obviously the Douglas James Taylor factor, amongst other things, would be a concern with that.
Yeah, Bohs haven't scored much at all in the last couple of games from any sort of position. Just 2 goals scored in the last 4 games, 4 draws in a row. So their form has tailed off a little bit, and a team whose form is really, really tailing off. Dan, Derry City, I feel like we're at risk of repeating ourselves every week, but just the story continues. That's now 6 games without a win for Tiernan Lynch's men. Sligo Rovers definitely be happy with the points, all things considered. I'd say just the start of the season they've had. I know James McLean, I think, came on late on as well, but that certainly does nothing to, I suppose, ease the pressure on Tiernan Lynch in his position.
No, I don't even know would Sligo Rovers be happier with the point. There was a break in play here. There's a few stoppages in the second half. I saw Sligo hit the post from the corner. It was a bit frantic. I think McLean came back, kind of left wing back, and I don't know. The thing is, right, it's the result that makes this a problem. It's the sequence of results that makes this a problem rather than that result in isolation. From what I could see, the pitch was not great. I saw Seb Quirk for Sligo Rovers go down with no one near him. Like, there was bobbles and stuff. So probably, you can have that type of game in Sligo sometimes. It's just when you add it to the sequence of, that winless run that you mentioned, and they're going to have to come here on Friday to, a buoyant Dundalk, albeit with no Horgan, and they're definitely down a couple of bodies with sort of, it's a bruising game here too, but they're full of confidence. They're going to attack Derry, and I think, it's going to be a big game for Derry coming here on Friday for sure.
Dundalk, and then they fish Shells away, and then Shamrock Rovers at Celtic Park, so certainly doesn't get any easier for Tiernan Lynch's men. But Dan, we'll leave it there from Oriel Park and here from Tallaght Stadium. Thanks very much for watching here on the Irish Independent.